All right. Happy Monday, everybody. Big waves to you. Good to see you. Good to see you. I got to say, I'm really, really proud of you guys, as well as myself, because this time of year, when you're in the profession I'm in, this time of year, there tends to be a drop off in participation, whether it's in person or whether it's virtually or it doesn't matter. And I've dealt with people for a long time, and people tend this time of year to kind of get distracted, right? They're starting to plan vacation, graduation's coming up, like the seasons are changing. And so there tends to be a little bit of a drop off in participation, but you guys are just hanging in there like a rusty nail. So that's the best I can say it. That's kind of like my coach giving me he's going to give me an award, but then slap me a couple of times before he gives it to me. So you all are referred to as rusty nail people today. No, I really appreciate you being here. And the word for today is brought to us by Will Garson out in Wyoming. Will asked for the word patient. And it's so funny because as I was reviewing it, all I could think about was Will, because I would probably put his face up against the word patient because he just looks like and seems like a very, very patient individual. I'm going to come hunting with him one day, and he's going to have to really be patient as I try to walk through that altitude. So if you look at the definition, it's able to accept or tolerate delays, problems, or suffering without becoming annoyed or anxious. Now, I immediately went, I got to tell you this quick story, okay? This is like not very useful information, but I'm going to tell it to you anyway. So, and some of you might have heard it, but one time when I was young, I was coming up, and I was in between jobs, and it was before I ever went into computer programming and then a teacher and coach. But I decided I was going to help my uncle farm. And when I saw the word patient, I immediately thought of my uncle, because I got on this tractor. I grew up on tractors. Like my family farmed cotton and corn and soybean and a lot of different things. So I decide, you know what? I'm in between jobs. I'm going to help you farm, Uncle AD. And he was so embracing and was like, great, that's awesome. And so I think I averaged like 1 to 2 like screw ups a day, like breaking equipment and costing him money and learning how to back a cotton wagon, because if you've never backed a cotton wagon, it's not traditional because of the tongue on it. So if maybe put in the comments if you know what I'm talking about. So I broke probably 1 to 2 things a day in the farming expedition that I went on with him that year. But he exhibited so much patience, just being patient with me, when he probably really wanted to take his belt off and just wear me out, and I was maybe 21. I don't know how old I was, maybe 20, but I thought about him. And you can probably think about people in your life that were very patient individuals with you, So the question is, at our age, where you're at right now, where I'm at right now, are you patient? Are you able to accept or tolerate delays, problems, suffering without becoming annoyed or anxious? I say all the time, my patience is legendary. My patience is but you know what? I'm going to change this because of this word today, because patience is an emotional freeing practice of waiting, watching, and knowing when to act. Think about the art of war. Think about that. Think about how patient the men and women that has served our country had to be when they were at war. Standing, being at guard for hours and hours and hours. I know Starling has served our country, and man, I think about the patience it must have taken. Andrew Jackson, but Bill, Bill and sailing. I could go on and on and on, that people that have. But here's the deal. What's the advantages? And I got to hurry because I'm out of time. What's the advantages of being patient? Here's the thing. It allows you time for strategic thinking and completely evaluating a situation. Things have time to fall into place when you're patient, presenting a clear strategic view of what's taking place. You're okay with waiting until things calm down, putting you in a better position to make a decision. So here's really quick. Patient people enjoy better mental health. This is facts. Patient people are better friends and neighbors. Patient people are goal achievers. They achieve higher goals in life. The patient people do. The road to achievement, think about this. The road to achievement is a long one. It's a long one. There's a lot of ups and downs. And those without patience, well, they're just lose vision of walking down the road to achieve what they want to achieve. But the patient people stay the course. And then the last one is patient people are linked to good health. So if you want to be healthy, if you want to have a good, long lasting, healthy life, practice patience, practice being a person that is patient. So Andrea is going to talk about how, but Andrea, I'm going to turn it to you. Sorry I took so long.
No, that was a good one. And I'll tell you, all I could think about when I prepared for this is how much I needed it yesterday. So I'm glad that we did it today, and maybe my next little roadblock, this will help. But I'll tell you, yesterday I was trying to get somewhere. I had a very specific time I needed to be there. And I felt like the world was just fighting against me to get there. I made it. It all turned out hopefully okay. But I definitely could have used some patience. So glad for this today. So what I found was, and I thought this was the most fun quote, it said, patience with others is love, right? When we're patient with our kiddos, they're, trying to teach them something, or Brent's uncle, that is love right there. Patience with yourself is hope, right? I'm going to be patient that I'm going to do a little bit better. I'm going to be hopeful for myself for tomorrow. And then being patient with God is having faith. And I thought that was so powerful. So I'm going to talk about how can we be more patient as humans? And this is not from a place of expertise. This is definitely from a place of trying to learn this. So first of all, stop doing the things that aren't important. So much, I think, we feel that impatience inside us, that we feel impatient because we're just overwhelmed. We're overwhelmed by everything that we have to get done in our day. We're overwhelmed with how busy we are. We're just overwhelmed. So take some time to evaluate your week. Look at everything that you've got to get done each day. Look at everything that is on that to-do list and see what you can get rid of, right? So look at your schedule from the time you wake up in the morning till you go to sleep at night, and find 2 or 3 things just to absolutely delete from the to-do list, delegate, do whatever you can, but get rid of those things that are unimportant. Next, reframe the situation. So us feeling impatient is not automatic. That is not automatic. Think about, if for everybody that has kids on here, when you were watching your little bitty learn how to take those first steps. Now, we may have wanted it, right? We may have been excited for it, but I hope that there's nobody out there that was pushing that toddler along saying, come on, kid, get her done, right? They weren't reprimanding their kid for learning how to walk. But if we're sitting in a doctor's office waiting for that doctor, and we watch that second hand and that minute hand click by, waiting for them to come in there, we can be very impatient. How rude, how disrespectful, my time's just as valuable, right? All these thoughts that I've had, right? So take the time to consciously reframe it. Oh, I have to wait for this doctor. I get to wait for this doctor, but that means that I can play 3 more games of solitaire, or I can read my book, right? I can take this much time to sit here and just breathe, right? Like Rick said, just enjoy a calm space in the day that's a forced break, right? So just reframe it. Next, practice mindfulness. So this goes with that breathing. So take a deep breath. Notice that feeling of frustration, of that impatience. Like we all know that feeling, we get it like right here. Notice it and then exhale it. See if you can be mindful and just work yourself right out of it. And then practice gratitude. So when we feel grateful, it's easier for us to be patient and to delay our gratification. So if we're thankful for what we have today, we're not as desperate, right, to get something else or to better our circumstances immediately. So when you're feeling impatient, take a few moments, list a couple things that you're grateful for right in that moment. And then lastly, put it in perspective. So I was thinking about this, do you get impatient when it takes 22 minutes to watch your favorite television show? You're like, oh, I really like this show. I wish it was done in 7 minutes instead of 22, right? Probably not, right? You're enjoying all 22 minutes. But when we are stuck in traffic, right? We're sitting in the car, maybe we're trying to get to work or we're trying to pick up our kids or whatever. Those 22 minutes can feel like a lifetime. We're like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, right? But if we can put it a little bit of perspective and realize, well, me getting to work is a heck of a lot more important than watching an episode of Friends, or me getting to my kiddo is a heck of a lot more important than, well, Friends is the only show I can think of, than some other silly little thing that I can use to waste my time. It helps us put it in perspective and allow us to be more patient. So thanks for this lesson, Will. I definitely needed it. I will be using it more in the future, I'm sure.
No, great lesson. Great lesson. One of the other things I looked up this morning was Warren Buffett. Just so everybody knows, Warren Buffett talks about business is all about speed, but you've got to have patience. You got to be patient. And he said, I've made my money in the stock market over the years by being patient. He said, most people in the stock market are impatient people, and the stock market thrives on impatient people because they put their money in and then they can't wait. So they take it out and they take a loss. And he's like, but the one that's willing to be patient, there's much wealth involved in that. And so I thought that was huge as I was listening to him, listening to a podcast he did talking about being patient. He said, it's hard to do, but there's so much riches involved when you're willing to be patient. So last thing I want to say is congratulations, Sonia Staten out of Texas and Cindy Thompson out of South Dakota won the How to Win Friends and Influence People by posting this on Friday. So make sure, if you will, Cindy and Sonia, if you'll send your address to Andrea Rosser, please. And so we can get you a copy of that book. Amazing read if you hadn't read that. So guys, we love you. We appreciate you. Have a great Monday. Andrea, thanks for the lesson this morning. See you. Love you guys. Grateful for you.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.